Hello, thank you for joining us on today's video. So today's video I'd like to give a little bit more information on what to expect when you're taking your rat to get them put to sleep. So I think it's really important to remember that you're doing the best by them, and this is a scary time. It's uncertain. I found the first rat which I had put to sleep, it was just I found it a very difficult experience because I was absolutely heartbroken. I hope that this can give you a little bit of an idea of what you can expect and some of the preparation, things like that. You might want to skip the next 30 seconds of this video if you don't want to hear about how rats are put to sleep. But the best way and the thing you will want to check is to make sure that they're being gassed first to knock them out, and then they will have an injection, and this is usually given directly into their heart. So this injection will be the thing that sort of stops it, the injection will be the thing that sort of ends it for them. You're not allowed to be there for the gassing of the rats, and that's because of health and safety reasons. However, I've read that some people ask to be able to be there for the injection. So when I spoke to my vet about this, she said she'd rather not have us there for the injection part. And this was for the reason that she didn't want our baby to wake up in between. She might have said that because it was quite a traumatic thing to see. But I know that she was weak, and apparently the gas just knocked her out straight away, which honestly wasn't surprising for me because we knew it was her time to go. So we didn't bring a blanket or a carrier because we didn't think to. The vets, they had some spare blankets they wrapped her up in for us, and this blanket now, every time we go to the vets, we bring this same blanket. That's their little put to sleep blanket. You sort of get options. Either you can ask the vets to sort of take them for like the crematorium and things like that. That can be handled by the vets if you sign the forms. However, we have a local crematorium which we go to near us. So this is the one thing I struggle with. I like to preach that I'm looking into my ethical pet care and things like that, and the most sustainable ways of doing things. But this is something which I'm guilty of not doing the greenest way, because of course you could probably bury them. There's options, some which are not to my taste. I've had all of my girls individually cremated, and one day I'm saving up to get glass beads of each one into ashes, and my partner and I are going to have little matching charm bracelets, so one bead per rat sort of thing. And that's something which for us is really, really important. We want to be able to have something to remember them by physically on top of everything else. Another thing which you can ask to get done if you do go to crematoriums normally is you can ask for either a little clipping of their fur, and you can have little paw prints made. So personally, we don't have a clipping of their fur. We don't like to do that because we feel like we want our rats to stay whole when they're buried, and we don't get the paw prints. They look incredible. We make them make their own little paw prints when they're still alive, but unfortunately we did have one rescue and she had 3 weeks with us before she passed away. So for her, we haven't had time to make the paw prints, which was really unfortunate. So we did pay to get them done at the crematorium. I know they're done really respectfully, but I want my babies handled the least amount possible once they're gone, sort of thing. But that's just my opinion. There's no right or wrong answer with that. But those paw prints, they were incredible. They did such a wonderful job with those ones. And for me, it was important to ask that do they definitely wash off all the ink before she's cremated? Because obviously where her little foot is in the stamp, and they said yes, they do. And we also asked for her blanket, her in to get returned. When we go to our local crematorium, it's just a little drive for us. The one that we go to, they have a separate little, it's sort of like an outbuilding, it's all private. We go there, we sign the forms, make the payment, discuss how we'd like her ashes to be returned, because you can get urns, lots of different things, but we just go for the standard little cardboard box. We don't pay any extra for that. That's not something that we want to do. They take, a couple of days, if that. They sort of give you a rough idea how long they expect it to be when you're there, and yeah, you just get your chance to say goodbye. For our one, they leave us alone, then we get our final goodbyes, and then we can leave, and we just ring the doorbell as we leave so they know to come back. But of course everyone will have a different way of doing it. but this is a sort of little routine that my partner and I like to have, and we'll do the same for our dog as well. It just feels like this is our way of honouring them, getting to say goodbye properly, and that gives us a bit of closure for definite. After that, once you collect their ashes, of course you've done the hardest bit, and then it's just a case of taking every minute of every day as it comes. It's okay to grieve them however you do, whether that's your own bits or whether it's you can carry on with your life. Everyone will have different ways of having that pain. You shouldn't feel guilty about it. There's no right or wrong answer. As long as you know you've done your best for them, maybe you've made some wrong decisions, maybe everything wasn't perfect, but you've done everything you believe is right by them, then have no guilt. You gave them the best lives that they could have had. Isn't that right, Remy? Is that Remy agreeing? Oh, you want your Mew Mix? Do you want some Mew Mix? Yeah. Wow. My only bit of advice would be to sort of have a little plan in place for what you're going to do, because they can just pass away in their sleep and things like that, or have strokes or something. So even if they're not old and it wasn't really their time to go, so I think it's important to just have a little idea of what you think, of what you want to do when it's their time to cross the bridge. What we did in preparation, we had a little look into our options. We found the crematorium and found that was the best option for us. We found out how we do it, and all you need to do is you call them up on the day to say, you know, someone's passed, and then they'll book you in for a slot, and then you just sort of go there, and then I've already explained the rest. So as long as you have an idea of what works best for you, of course it's your budget as well, because that is part of it, and what you believe the right thing for you and your baby is, then that's the most important thing. Personally, what we do, because rats are pack animals, once they've passed away, we do show the passed away rat to her sisters, just so they can have that chance to grieve. We don't do it for long, we're there the whole time. We'll just place them in the blanket in the cage so they can have a little sniff. If they're avoiding, we just sort of show them just so they're aware, and then we'll take the rat away before we take them to the crematorium. This is something which we believe helps our girls move on, so they don't think their friend just disappeared one day. When baby passed away, it was so traumatic for us, because we showed Remy her sister and she started squealing, because Remy has always been very protective. She's always been very motherly, very protective of her sisters, and when baby had passed away, Remy just squealed and squealed, and it was horrific. We took her straight to the vets, and then because of that stress got an upper respiratory infection, so she was given antibiotics and Metacam straight away, but she was very not herself, and she would randomly start squealing, and we knew she hadn't hurt herself. It was just the agony of losing her sister, and my partner and I, one of us will be at home every day working from home, so we were working in the same room as them, and I was slept downstairs for weeks with them. Whenever she started crying, I would give her a fuss, give her treats, give her cuddles. She didn't really like the cuddles, so it was more treats were the best distraction. And after a couple of weeks, the squealing and things, the squealing had stopped, stopped happening as much, and it's just where she was so overwhelmed and heartbroken. And like I said, we did get her checked out of the vets to make sure it definitely was that. We haven't had it with any of her other sisters, fortunately, but when that happened, that was hard, because rats really do grieve. This next part, fast forward 30 seconds, it can be very graphic, but I think it's something rat owners need to understand. So this is something which I've not had to experience yet, as none of my girls have passed in their cage. They're also prey animals, and because of this, if one of them passes away in their cage, it's very likely that their cage mates will start to eat them, and this is only to just get rid of the flesh so it doesn't attract predators to come and get them, basically. So I'm really sorry if this ever happens to you, but I think it's good to be pre-warned and just understand that your rats didn't kill your rat. They were just looking after themselves and looking after the rest of the group by doing this. So if that ever happens, which is very possible. That's why. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope that I will be able to see you again, and soon there'll be some happier videos because we've had some very serious topics in this last couple of videos. But thank you very much for joining us. See you later.